My brother raped my girlfriend. My mother said that you can't destroy a family because of one mistake. And that's why I sued them all. I never thought I would write this, but I can't keep quiet anymore. My name is Jake. I'm 24, and until recently I thought I had it all. A girl I loved to pieces, a plan for the future, a supportive family. Or at least I thought I did. My girlfriend's name is Ellie. We dated for 3 years. She was the light in my life. After a dark streak in high school, when I was constantly fighting with my father, my brother, myself, she was the only one who could calm me down. We had true love. You know, the kind you build brick by brick. I had even chosen a wedding ring. I hid it in a drawer, waiting for the perfect moment. But that moment never came. Because everything broke down one night. It happened after a party. My brother Tommy came home after 2 years in the army. A hero, they said. He told me everywhere that he had gone through hell and was now a changed man. I wanted to believe him. He and I have always had a difficult relationship. He's 3 years older. He's always been my mom's favorite. But he's always been cruel to me. He used to beat me when my parents were not at home. He mocked me. He threatened me. But no one believed me. It's just a brotherly quarrel, they said. When he came back, my mom organized a family dinner. I didn't want to go, but Ellie persuaded me. She said that maybe people change. She always saw the best in people. The party was calm. Tommy was a little tipsy, but he kept to himself. I left Ellie for a few minutes to talk to my uncle in the backyard. When I came back, she was gone. I thought she was in the bathroom or in the kitchen. An hour passed. I started looking for her. I called her, but the phone was in her bag on the couch. I found her in the basement. She was sitting on the floor, shaking, with her blouse torn open. Her eyes were red. She could barely speak. She just whispered, "It was Tommy." And then she fainted. It was like I was frozen. My brain refused to believe. I screamed so loud that the whole family came running. Tommy came out of the bathroom on the first floor, looking at me and smiling as if nothing had happened. I rushed at him, started hitting him, choking him, screaming for someone to call the police. But my mom was pulling me back, screaming, "Jake, don't. Don't ruin your brother's life. Don't ruin it." She had just seen what happened. Her granddaughter hadn't even been born yet, and she was already choosing sides. Her aunt called the police. Tommy started screaming that she wanted it, that she was drinking, that she doesn't remember anything. Ellie, who was coming to her senses at the time, started screaming and crying, begging not to let him go. But Mommy, began to defend him. It was a mistake. He was just drunk. She must have misunderstood. "Jake, this is your brother. You can't destroy your family for one mistake." I stood there in that living room with a swollen fist, a girl on the floor shaking in terror, and a mother trying to cover it up like it was nothing. I realized that my family was not a family. It was a hole in which something deeper than I could imagine was rotting. This was just the beginning. Translated with dpel.com, free version. The cops came. They talked to everyone. Took statements. Took photos. Took Tom. For a few hours, I actually thought justice would happen. Ellie was taken to the hospital. I stayed with her the whole night. Her parents showed up in a panic. They didn't know anything until I called them from the ambulance. I'll never forget her mom's face. White as a ghost, like her soul had been ripped out. Her dad was pacing like a caged animal, trying not to explode. When the doctors confirmed the assault, when they showed us the bruises and filed the report, I thought, he's done. He's going to prison. But I underestimated how deep my family's route went. The next morning, my mom bailed Tom out. Bailed him out. I found out through a neighbor who saw him come home. I stormed into the house, and there he was, sitting on the couch, eating cereal, like it was a normal Tuesday. "What the F **K is he doing here?" I yelled. Mom came in, calm as ever. "Jake, honey, please. You're making a scene." I should make a scene. He raped my girlfriend. In our **King basement. And you bailed him out. Mom's eyes narrowed. "Watch your tone." I laughed, because I couldn't believe it. My tone. She sat me down like I was the problem, like I needed calming down. She said, "I'm not excusing anything, but Tom's going through a lot. He just got back. He saw horrible things. He's drinking. He's confused. He's a rapist," I said, clear as day. And then she said the thing that made something in me snap. "One mistake, Jake. We don't destroy our family over one mistake." I couldn't speak. I couldn't even scream. I just stood there, blinking. She kept going. Do you really want your brother in jail? You want that on your conscience? We can fix this. We'll talk to Ellie. She's a good girl. She'll understand. Maybe she even. I slapped the table so hard it cracked. Don't you King finish that sentence. Tom didn't say a word. Just sat there, spoon in his mouth, avoiding eye contact. I packed my things that day. I moved in with Ellie and her parents. Her dad welcomed me like a son. They offered me the guest room. For the next few days, I barely slept. I was either comforting Ellie or on the phone with lawyers. We filed for a restraining order. We gave police the hospital records. Ellie agreed to testify. But then the calls started. From my mom. From my aunt. From my uncle. Even my grandma. Think about the family. Tom didn't mean it. Ellie's probably exaggerating. You're ruining everything. I started getting texts from cousins. Old friends. People from church. You sure about this? He's your brother. What if it was just miscommunication? Girls lie, man. My blood boiled. Ellie was hiding in a house with blackout curtains, afraid to even check her phone. And I was the one ruining the family. You know what? K that. That's when I called the lawyer again. I want to sue them. All of them. He was silent for a second, then asked, who exactly? I said, my brother. My mother. Anyone who tries to intimidate Ellie. Anyone who dares to suggest she's lying. I want them buried. Because when justice fails, and your own family betrays you, the only thing left is fire. I didn't think I'd be the one suing my own family. I mean, who the hell grows up thinking that will be your life? But that's where I was. Living in Ellie's childhood bedroom, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, while her parents whispered worriedly in the kitchen. Ellie barely spoke. She just stared out the window or lay curled up with headphones in. She jumped at every knock, every creak. Meanwhile, my family, living their best lives. Tom was posting selfies on Instagram like nothing ever happened. My mom even had the audacity to post a family photo, an old one, before all this, with the caption, "Family is everything, stay strong, Tommy." I saw red. That's when I knew I wasn't just going to sue. I was going to make this public. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, texts, voice messages. I recorded a couple of phone calls, too, especially the one where my mom said, "You have to stop, Jake. If you go through with this, no one in this family will ever forgive you. You'll be dead to us." My reply? Then bury me. The lawyer filed a civil suit. One for emotional distress and damages on Ellie's behalf, and another against my mother for witness intimidation and public defamation. We named Tom as the primary defendant. And then it leaked. I didn't leak it. I swear I didn't. But someone in the legal office must have talked, or maybe someone snooped. Either way, a local blog got hold of the court filing and published a story. Decorated veteran accused of assault by brother's girlfriend. Family torn apart. It blew up. At first, the comments were the usual trash. She's lying. Bet she regrets cheating on her man and wants a way out. Typical cancel culture. But then Ellie made a choice I never expected. She posted a video. No tears. No melodrama. Just her, staring dead into the camera. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to share this. But people are calling me a liar, so here I am. I was raped. I was drugged. I was assaulted in a house where I thought I was safe. I was left on a cold basement floor while people I considered family ate dinner upstairs. The video went viral. Suddenly, everything shifted. The hate turned to rage, toward Tom, toward my mother, toward the system that let him walk free after a single night in holding. People started sharing the story. Others came forward. 2 girls from our high school who claimed Tom had tried similar things with them, but were too scared to speak up. A waitress from a bar downtown who said Tom grabbed her and got kicked out 2 months earlier. The DA reopened the case. Tom was arrested again, this time without bail. My mother? She posted a long, unhinged Facebook rant blaming me, Ellie, the woke mob, and even God for testing her faith. Guess who screen recorded the whole thing and sent it to our lawyer? Yeah, me. Ellie started smiling again. Not big smiles. Not real ones. But the ghost of them, like she finally believed someone was fighting for her. And me? I had lost my family. Every last one of them blocked me. Cousins unfollowed me. My grandma disowned me in a 2-line text. You turned your back on blood. Don't come to my funeral. I didn't care. Because I wasn't alone. I had Ellie. I had the truth. And I had the fire. The night Tom was arrested again, actually arrested, this time without my mother's wallet buying him back. I slept better than I had in weeks. But peace doesn't last when you're at war with your own blood. The next morning, I woke up to my phone vibrating like a damn jackhammer. Over 100 missed calls. Mom, Aunt Deb, Uncle Mike, even random people from my hometown I hadn't spoken to in years. They wanted me to drop the suit. Some were begging. Some were threatening. Some were weirdly in between, like, Jake, come on, man. Do you really want to send your brother to prison for a misunderstanding? A misunderstanding? He drugged her. He raped her. There was DNA, security footage, witnesses, a hospital report. What's so hard to understand? I ignored all the calls. But then, my mom showed up. I don't know how she found me. I guess maybe Ellie's dad left the gate open, or maybe she followed one of us home. But suddenly there was a knock at the door, and I opened it. And there she was, holding a pie. Yeah, AF *** king pie. She said, "Can we talk?" I told her, "You've got 1 minute." She stepped inside like she owned the place. Walked right past Ellie's mom in the kitchen like they were old friends. Like she hadn't just posted the most hateful SHD imaginable * about us online. She sat at the dining table and folded her hands. "I've spoken to a lawyer," she said. "There's still time to make this go away. If Ellie drops the charges, we'll settle quietly. I'll pay her. A lot. More than you make in 5 years." I stood there stunned. "Did you just offer hush money to the girl your son assaulted? It's better than dragging our names through the mud. Do you think anyone's going to hire her after this? Do you think you're going to have a normal life after this circus?" I looked at her. This woman raised me. This woman sang lullabies to me when I was 6. Cleaned my scraped knees. Cried when I got my first job. And now she was trying to bribe my girlfriend into silence for the sake of her favorite son. "You've got 5 seconds to leave," I said. She stood up slowly, straightened her jacket. "I want you to know," she said. "I prayed for you last night. I prayed that you'd come back to your senses. But if this goes to trial, we'll ruin you. I'll testify against Ellie myself if I have to." She left the pie on the table like that somehow softened the threat. Ellie's dad threw it in the trash without a word. That night, Ellie cried for hours. I sat with her in the dark, holding her hand while she told me things I wish I could unhear. About how Tom cornered her. About what he whispered. About how she saw my face in her head the whole time and told herself not to die, not until she could see me again. I don't think I'll ever recover from hearing that. But I will make them pay. I called the lawyer and told him everything, including my mother's visit and her offer. He said we might now have a case for obstruction and witness tampering. Even more leverage in civil court. I said, "Good. I want every last one of them on the stand." He paused. "There's a way," he said. "If you're really ready to go nuclear." I said, "Light the match." I used to believe that family was everything. You're taught that from birth, right? Blood is thicker than water. Family comes first. Forgive your kin, always. What no one tells you is what to do when your blood becomes poison. When the people who raised you turn into your enemies. When your own mother threatens the woman you love to protect the monster she calls son. After that night, everything changed. Ellie decided she wanted to testify in open court. No screens. No protective petitions. No sensitive witness procedures. She wanted them all to look her in the eye when she told the truth. Her voice shook when she said it, but her eyes didn't. I was proud of her, more than I've ever been proud of anyone. And terrified for her, too. Meanwhile, my lawyer filed a motion to include all of my mother's messages, voicemails, the Facebook rant, and her attempt to bribe Ellie as evidence in both the civil and criminal proceedings. She'd crossed a line. I warned her. But she didn't stop. The very next day, I got an email from a reporter, a national one. Said he was covering the story for a piece on familial cover-ups of sexual assault. He'd seen Ellie's video. He wanted to talk. I said I'd get back to him. Later that week, someone slashed the tires on Ellie's dad's truck. A coincidence? Maybe. But then graffiti appeared on their fence. Rat family. The police came, took photos, wrote a report. But they didn't do much. So I did. I bought cameras. I stayed up late. I watched every feed like a hawk. And sure enough, 2 nights later, around 2:30 a.m., someone tried to sneak onto the porch. It was my cousin Kyle, 17, Mom's sister's kid. He was about to leave something in the mailbox. Looked like a dead squirrel, I kid you not, when I flipped on the porch light and opened the door. He froze. I said, "Want to explain what the F*** you're doing, Kyle?" He bolted. Dropped the squirrel. I didn't chase him. Just took the footage and sent it to the cops. That's when I realized something chilling. This wasn't just about Tom anymore. This had become a family campaign. To shame, to threaten, to wear us down until we dropped everything and disappeared. They wanted silence. They were never going to get it. The following week, I got a letter from my grandma's lawyer. A formal notice. I was being removed from her will. The letter actually said, "For bringing shame upon this family and turning against your brother in his time of need." I laughed so hard I nearly threw up. Then I framed it and hung it on the wall. Not out of spite, out of clarity. A reminder that I was never crazy, never overreacting. They showed me who they were, and I finally believed them. The pretrial hearing came fast. Tom looked thinner, paler. I almost didn't recognize him. But the smugness? Still there. The moment Ellie walked in, he smirked. I thought I might lunge at him. But Ellie squeezed my hand. "We'll do this the right way," she whispered. When Ellie took the stand for the preliminary testimony, the courtroom went dead silent. She didn't cry. She didn't shake. She told the truth like it was stone. Hard. Heavy. Unmovable. Tom's lawyer tried to rattle her. "Did you drink that night?" "Yes. One drink. With Jake present." My drink was left alone on the counter for 2 minutes when I went to the bathroom. "Could you have misinterpreted?" "No." "Is it possible?" "No." She stared him down like a goddamn warrior. The judge ruled there was sufficient cause for a full trial. Tom's bail was revoked. Handcuffed. Hauled out. And that's when my mom stood up in the gallery and shouted, "Liar. You whore. You destroyed our family." Everyone turned. Silence. Shock. The bailiff moved toward her. I stood up and said clearly, "Add that to the civil suit. And tell her to keep baking pies. She'll need the money." The courtroom became my battlefield. Tom in his cheap suit and prison haircut. My mother, sitting behind him like some tragic queen, pretending her whole world was collapsing around her. She'd bring tissues to dab at fake tears and glare daggers at me every time our eyes met. But I didn't look away. Neither did Ellie. The trial began with jury selection. That process alone took days, because everyone had seen the viral video by now. Some were too biased, others too disgusted. Eventually, they picked a panel of 12 that looked like a weird Thanksgiving dinner. A mix of ages, backgrounds, and faces that had no idea what was about to hit them. The prosecution started with the evidence, medical reports, toxicology, witness statements. Then came the surveillance footage. You couldn't see the actual assault, thank God, but you could see Tom leading Ellie into the basement. Her stumbling, him blocking the stairs behind her. The audio was silent, but the video screamed. Then Ellie took the stand again, this time in front of a jury. I held my breath the entire time. She told them everything. The drink, the basement, the way she fought and screamed. The moment she realized no one was coming. The aftermath, the hospital. I watched 12 people go from skeptical to sickened to furious. And then came the defense. They tried to paint Ellie as confused, emotional. They hinted that maybe we had a fight and she wanted revenge. They even brought up her outfit that night, the oldest trick in the Predator's playbook. But Ellie didn't flinch. She kept her chin high, her voice steady. Then they called me. I told them the truth. I told them I trusted my brother, tried to trust him again after years of fear and bullying. I told them how I found her, what she said, how she collapsed in my arms. I told them about the hospital, the family fallout, the threats, the pressure. I could see the jury leaning in, listening hard. One older man, mid-60s, war vet, probably the only guy in the room who initially felt sympathy for Tom, was shaking his head slowly as I spoke. The final blow came when the prosecution played the voicemail from my mom, the one where she said, "Do you really want your brother in jail? You'll regret this, Jake. You don't destroy your family for one mistake. Think about the bigger picture." The courtroom went completely still. The prosecutor looked at the jury and said, "This is what she called one mistake." The silence afterward hit harder than any scream. On the third day of the trial, my mother took the stand for the defense. She tried to cry. She tried to say Tom had always been a good boy, that war had changed him, and that I was easily manipulated by Ellie. But then came cross-examination. The prosecutor tore her apart. Line by line, lie by lie, Facebook post by Facebook post. "Mrs. Reynolds," he said, "did you or did you not attempt to bribe the victim into dropping the charges?" I was trying to protect her. By threatening her future career and reputation? I never. We have the recording. Would you like the jury to hear it? That was the moment she cracked. She broke down on the stand, but not from guilt, from losing control. She shouted that I was ungrateful, that I owed Tom, that family should always come first. That's when I realized something. She wasn't defending Tom because she believed he was innocent. She was defending him because if he was guilty, then she had to admit she raised a monster. And she couldn't live with that. So she chose to burn everything else to the ground instead, including me. The verdict came after only 5 hours of deliberation. That's not long for a case like this. Not with the stakes, the drama, the noise. But the evidence was airtight. Tom sat there, still as a stone, as the jury foreman stood and spoke. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty on all counts. No gasp, no screaming, just my mother letting out this low, guttural moan, like someone had finally ripped the mask off her perfect little world. Her golden son, the one she coddled, defended, shielded from every consequence, was now a convicted rapist. Tom didn't even flinch. Not when they read the sentence. Not when they cuffed him. Not when they let him out. 20 years. No chance of parole for at least 12. I wanted to feel something. Rage, victory, grief. But all I felt was emptiness. Like I had finally torn out the cancer. But now there was a hollow space where something should have been. Ellie cried. She didn't sob. Just tears that wouldn't stop. Like her body had been holding them back until it was safe to let go. I held her hand. I kissed her forehead. And I whispered, he's gone. He can't hurt you anymore. But the trial wasn't the end. Because next came ours, the civil case. The one against my mother. People thought we were pushing it. That we should be satisfied with the criminal verdict. But no. She went out of her way to cover for a rapist. She tried to destroy Ellie's life, reputation, and career. She offered bribes, launched online smear campaigns, and rallied others to harass us. She made it her personal mission to silence the victim. And she was about to pay for it. In court, our lawyer painted a clear picture, not of a grieving mother, but of an active enabler. He showed the jury every message, every threat, every post where she called Ellie a liar and me a traitor. Every voicemail where she begged us to stop for the family's sake. She sat there cold, arms crossed, pretending she didn't care. But I saw it. In the twitch of her jaw, the tapping of her fingers. She was losing. And then Ellie's lawyer dropped the final hammer. He pulled out a spreadsheet, a list of every GoFundMe, blog post, and interview my mom had done since the trial started. She was monetizing the trauma, selling her story as the heartbroken mother of a falsely accused hero, raking in thousands from people who thought she was the victim. The courtroom lost it. The jury awarded Ellie $1.3 million in damages. My mother's mouth dropped open like she couldn't breathe. She stood up and shouted at the judge. This is blood money. She doesn't deserve a dime. And the judge looked her dead in the face and said, You're right. She deserves more. But this is all the law allows. When we walked out of that courtroom, Ellie didn't smile. She didn't need to. She walked taller. That was enough. But the craziest part? It didn't stop. Because once the verdicts came out, people started crawling out of the woodwork. Women. 3 of them. All with stories about Tom. About how he tried to corner them. About how he used his uniform and charm to get what he wanted. About how he got violent when they said no. None of them had ever spoken up before, but now, they felt safe. One even thanked me. Said I was the reason she finally reported what happened to her 5 years ago. I didn't know what to say. Because I never set out to be anyone's hero. I just wanted to do the right thing when no one else would. I just wanted my brother to face what he did. And my mother, to finally pay for pretending none of it mattered. You'd think it ends there. The courtroom battles. The verdict. The payout. The headlines. You'd think that would be the last chapter in this nightmare. But trauma doesn't wrap up neatly like a movie. It leaks into the quiet. Into the mornings where Ellie stares at her reflection too long. Into the nights where I wake up and check every lock in the house twice. And then, there's the family. The ones who didn't go to jail. The ones who weren't sued. The ones who stayed silent, but not neutral. After the verdicts, a few cousins reached out. Quietly. Cowardly. I didn't know how bad it was. I didn't think it was true at first, but, I'm sorry, man. Your mom made it sound different. Some offered apologies. Some wanted to reconcile. I said no. Because here's the thing about silence. It's a choice. Every single one of them watched Ellie get dragged through the mud. They watched my mother turn her pain into profit. They saw me lose everything. And they said nothing. So no, they don't get to come back just because the wind shifted. One uncle had the balls to email me a whole essay about forgiveness and family healing. He said we should get past this for the sake of the older generation. I replied with 2 words. Too late. Then came the cherry on top. My mother tried to appeal the civil ruling. She actually hired new lawyers, did interviews, and claimed the jury was emotionally manipulated by social media. The appeal was denied in under 30 minutes. She owes $1.3 million. She tried to sell her house. The court blocked the transfer until the money is paid. She went online and begged for donations, again. But this time, nobody cared. The public sympathy she'd once milked dried up the second the court documents went viral. Turns out screenshots speak louder than sermons. I didn't laugh. I didn't gloat. I just watched her spiral into the same isolation she tried to shove Ellie into. Karma doesn't always come in fire and lightning. Sometimes it's just slow public rot. Meanwhile, Ellie? She's healing. She started therapy, switched jobs, cut her hair short, said she needed something that felt like hers, untouched by the past. She's writing again, cooking. She even adopted a dog. A rescue. Broken ribs, old burns, terrified of everything. They understand each other. Me? I go to every appointment. I keep my phone charged and my hands steady. I don't sleep much. But I've found purpose. There's a nonprofit now. Ellie's idea. For victims who were silenced by their own families. We get letters, calls, emails. More than we can handle. The stories are endless. But they all start the same. I thought no one would believe me. We do. And then, one day, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just handwriting I hadn't seen since I was a kid. My father, the man who walked out on us when I was 12, left mom with 2 sons and a mortgage. I hadn't heard from him in over a decade. The letter said, I heard what happened. I'm sorry I wasn't there to stop it. I always knew something wasn't right with your brother. Or your mother. You're stronger than I ever was. If you want to talk, I'll be in the same place. I never left. I stared at that envelope for a long time. Because here I was, a man ripped from his bloodline, hated by half the people who raised him, alone but not broken, holding a piece of my past I thought was gone. And I didn't know whether I wanted to burn it or answer it. I didn't reply to the letter right away. For 2 weeks, I left it sitting on the desk in the spare room, next to a stack of unopened bills and court paperwork. I'd walk past it, glance at it, tell myself, later. But it haunted me. My father, the man who vanished when I was 12, who left me with a toxic brother, a narcissistic mother, and a house full of secrets. Now he wanted to reappear, what? Like some long-lost conscience? A too-late savior? I didn't want to open that door. But Ellie, bless her soul, said something that stopped me in my tracks. She said, You've burned every rotten bridge. Maybe now you deserve to build something. So I called him. It was weird. Awkward. 2 men on the phone, dancing around 15 years of silence. He didn't apologize at first. Just asked how I was. How Ellie was. If I was safe. He told me he'd been following the story in the papers, recognized my name, and almost didn't believe it. But he did believe it. Said he wasn't surprised. Said he always saw something dark in Tom, even as a kid. And that mom made it worse by protecting him from every consequence. She raised a wolf and then acted shocked when it bit, he said. I sat in silence, letting the words soak. Eventually, he said he was still living in the same town he left for, in a tiny cabin 2 hours away. Working construction. No social media. No wife. No new kids. Just quiet. He asked if I wanted to meet. So I did. I drove out there the next weekend, just me and the dog. Ellie wasn't ready to go, and I didn't want her near any more ghosts. I parked outside a weather-worn house with peeling paint and a rusty mailbox. He came out before I even knocked. He looked older than I remembered. Gray in the beard, bags under the eyes. But still strong. Still familiar. We sat on the porch for a long time. Didn't even talk. Just shared a 6-pack and watched the trees sway. Eventually, he said, I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because I couldn't survive her. I didn't say anything. Then he added, but leaving you with her, that's on me. That's my guilt. I turned to him and said, you don't get to erase that. But you don't have to live in it forever either. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was a crack in the ice. We talked about everything after that. The court, the lawsuits, the fallout. I told him about the nonprofit. About Ellie. About the way people treated me like the villain because I wouldn't protect my own blood. He nodded slowly. You protected something better, he said. The truth. Before I left, he handed me an old photo. Me, as a kid, sitting on his shoulders. I had no memory of it. I kept it, he said, for the day you came back. I don't know if I'll ever call him Dad again. I don't know if I can. But that day on the porch, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like the start of something new. When I got home, Ellie hugged me like I'd returned from war. I whispered, I think I needed that. And she whispered back, I think we did. Because healing doesn't come in one wave. It comes in layers. In conversations you thought you'd never have. In choices you never thought you'd make. We'd survived a storm. And now, we were planting something in the wreckage. It's been 14 months since the verdict. Tom is in prison. No appeal. No early release. He's just another inmate now, stripped of his medals and delusions. My mother? Broke. Her house was seized to pay off the civil judgment. She lives in a tiny rented apartment in a part of town where no one recognizes her anymore. Or worse, where they do and just whisper. She's blacklisted from her old church. Her GoFundMe campaigns dried up like puddles in the desert. She still posts sometimes. Angry rants. Claims of innocence. Claims that Ellie was part of some feminist conspiracy to ruin her son. But no one listens anymore. The only comments she gets are from trolls or the occasional loyal cousin who still drinks the poison. I don't respond. I don't need to. Because the revenge, the real revenge, was never about screaming louder than them. It was about standing still while the truth screamed for us. It was Ellie, building herself back up from broken glass. Speaking at panels. Hosting survivor workshops. Getting letters from girls who say, you saved me. It was me, finding peace in purpose, not hate. Not fire. Just slow, hard-earned peace. I still go to therapy. I still have nightmares. I still carry the weight of what happened, what I lost, what I didn't see coming. But I carry it with strength now. I see my dad every few weekends. We fish. We drink beer. We don't talk much about the past, but sometimes we'll sit in silence long enough for something real to rise to the surface. I told him once, I used to wish you'd stayed. He said, me too. And we left it there. As for Ellie and me, we're not perfect. Trauma doesn't give you fairy tale endings. But we're here. Still together. Still trying. Still waking up next to each other and saying, one more day. Let's live it better. People ask me sometimes if I'd do it all again. The lawsuits. The trial. The family backlash. Losing everything. And I say, in a heartbeat. Because I'd rather have a small circle of truth than 1,000 liars calling themselves family. And here's the part one never tell anyone, but I'll write it here for the first time. My revenge wasn't screaming at my mother. It wasn't watching my brother in cuffs. It wasn't even that moment in court when the jury foreman said, guilty. My revenge was Ellie smiling for the first time without fear. My revenge was holding her hand while she slept peacefully, without shaking. My revenge was waking up one morning and realizing, I don't hate myself anymore. Because I did the right thing when it cost me everything. That's the kind of man I want to be. That's the kind of man I finally am.